Alright, welcome back to the pycse channel. Today I want to talk very briefly about arithmetic and operator precedence in Python. And the question is kind of highlighted in this little cartoon here, and that is 1 plus 2 times 3. And is that going to be 7, which would be 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1, or is it going to be 9 for 1 plus 2 times 3? So the question here is about operator precedence and which one happens first. And those are really well defined in Python. I'll show you in a minute. But we can just put in a little quick calculation here, 1 plus 2 times 3. And Python follows normal operator precedence, so you might expect the answer to be 7. Now, before I go to those operator precedence rules, I thought I would point out that what I'm doing here in this demonstration is using Emacs and org mode to run these Python scripts or Python commands. And they work the same in JupyterLab and Colab, so we'll just switch to those real quick. And let's see the same thing here, 1 plus 2 times 3. Is going to give us 7. So this is in JupyterLab or Jupyter Notebook. So the point is anything I type in those pink blocks in my org mode files, you can type into one of these blocks, cell blocks in a Jupyter Notebook. Or you could do the same thing over here in a Colab and click the run button. So for almost exclusively or completely, the code that I type in those pink blocks will be runnable and typable in Colab or in JupyterLab. It's just my preference that I do it in this form here. Okay, so let's get back to this question of operator precedence, and then we'll go through what the operators are. So this is all documented in the Python 3 reference documentation. So here is a table that shows all of the operators and the order in which they happen. So I'll highlight a few points in here. The ones at the top happen first, and then the next one, and then the next one, and so forth down the way. So the most important syntax is the parenthesized expression. So anything in parentheses is always evaluated before anything else. Then these are not really arithmetic, but anything that's an index or slicing or an attribute is evaluated. We will not talk about a weight. That's a fancy asynchronous thing, I think. Then exponents are the most important arithmetic operator. That's always done first. And then here we have positive or negative. And then these are most of the arithmetic ones that we'll look at. So times, this is matrix multiply, divide, floor divide, and remainder are the next most important. And then plus and minus are the least important. So in your expressions, parentheses happen first, then exponents, then multiplication, division, modulus, and finally plus and minus. All right, let's take a couple of examples of those things. So back to here, if we really wanted to do 1 plus 2 first, we should put these in parentheses. And now this will evaluate to 9 because this gets evaluated first, and then we multiply it by 3. All right. And let's look at all of these again. So the highest priority is exponentiation. So if I put in here, let's say 2 raised to the third, that's going to give me 8. And this is a different syntax than you might be used to from MATLAB, where it uses the little caret. That's not the right thing to do here. So here, if I say 2 times 3 times 2, then you should think of this as this happens first to give me 8, times 2 will give me 16. And if you intended to be 2 raised to the 3 times 2 power, then you would have to do this in parentheses. That would be 2 to the 6, which is 64. All right, then the next set of operators that are important are the multiply, divide, floor divide, and there is technically the matrix multiply in here, but I'm not going to really talk about that, because to get to matrix multiply we have to have arrays. All right, so let's look at this. So let's see, what is 1 divided by 3? 1 divided by 3 is 1/3. So in Python 2, this would have actually been 0 because these are both integers. And Python 3 does what most scientists and engineers expect in this division, which makes it the float number 1/3. And the floor division here is how you retrieve the integer division. So this answer is actually 0 because 1 divided by 3 has no remainder. In fact, like if you put 4 here, now the remainder is going to be 1. And we also have the modulus operator here. And so we can have, let's say 4 mod 3 also has a remainder of 1. But this works for floats as well, so you can see what the remainder of that division is. So these are the next level. I guess I didn't really include the negative and positives in here. So minus x comma plus x. Let's have a look there. So let's say minus 1 raised to the 3rd power. That gives us minus 1, because minus 1 times minus 1 is 1, times minus 1 is minus 1. And then the final, the lowest priorities are the plus and minus. So those always happen last. So the main point and the main takeaway today is to think about what are all of the operators. Let's go back to these. The main ones that we want to use for arithmetic are exponentiation. That always happens first. Then the multiplication and divisions. You can think of this remainder as like a division. It's what's left over after division. And then addition and subtraction come last in the precedence. And these other ones are important too. If you start combining expressions that have these logical operators or comparison operators, these all happen last. So everything will get evaluated up here before these things happen, which is helpful to know. And I think the other important thing to remember is the parentheses. So if you're ever unsure what order things are, or you want to be absolutely sure it goes in the order that you want, you use parentheses to force everything inside of them to be evaluated before other things are done. All right, so that is it for arithmetic and operator precedence in Python, and hopefully that clears up or helps you remember what the order of operations are, and will help eliminate surprises where you don't get exactly what you expected. All right, thanks for coming, and I'll talk to you next time.